Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lesson. We continue with the subject Advanced Public Financial Management. The topic is Public Financial Management Reforms. This lesson is a continuation of the last lesson where we did an adumbration of the public financial management reforms in Kenya. The last lesson culminated in an assignment which was based on the August 2022 Advanced Public Financial Management paper. The assignment I gave you was in two parts. Part A, candidates were to analyze the objectives of the public financial management reforms initiatives undertaken in your country. Part B, describe the challenges faced by the government in undertaking public financial management reforms. And the preamble of the question reads, your country has undertaken public financial management reform initiatives and currently is working on implementation of the 2018 to 2023 Public Financial Management Reform Strategy. This strategy seeks to build on the success of previous public financial management reforms to date and address the challenges encountered. Now, during the last lesson, candidates, I took you through the history of public financial management reforms in Kenya since independence. And we saw that since independence, the government has undertaken various public financial management reform initiatives. We looked at the strategy for the revitalization of public financial management system in Kenya, which played a prominent role in guiding reforms in the public financial management sector and also building on the institutional transformation from the year 2006 to the year 2011. And the key areas that the reforms targeted included the transformation of political priorities into the annual budget allocations, number one. Then number two, the credibility of the budget. Number three, rollout of the integrated financial management information system, the IFMIS. And number four, the quality, the timeliness, and accuracy of financial reports. Those are four key areas that the 2006 to 2011 reforms are targeted at. And we also discussed how the government, together with the development partners, supported the implementation of the strategy for public financial management reforms under what is known as a collaborative memorandum of understanding, which provided for bilateral direct support and joint funding arrangement. In addition to the Ministry of Finance and on behalf of the government of Kenya, the key development partners who supported the strategy implementation included countries like Sweden, the Embassy of Sweden. We had the CEDA, that is the Canadian Development International Agency, the Embassy of Denmark, Norway. There were also bilateral partners like the USAID and the rest. And candidates, we studied also that with the expiry of the previous strategy coinciding with the implementation of the rich reform agenda that is prescribed in the Constitution, all right, which gave an impetus for improving governance structures and entrenching reforms after the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution. And we saw how the Chapter 12 of the Constitution envisages the development and implementation of a wide range of both legal and institutional reforms. And the reforms include the enactment of the legislation such as the Public Finance Management Act. We saw also the reorganization of existing institutions like the National Treasury and establishment of new public finance management institutions. So we have one, the enactment of the Public Finance Management Act under the new constitution. It now became necessary, or it became necessary now to have an act on public finance management in place. The constitution gave the basis for the enactment of the Public Finance Management Act. Through the constitution, there was also the reorganization of the National Treasury, and also establishment of new institutional bodies. So the National Treasury under the new constitution is reorganized. Then there is establishment of new institutional bodies or institutions like the Commission. We have the Commission on Revenue Allocation. We have the Controller of Budget. All right? These are new institutions that were formed under the new constitution. And you recall that immediately after the constitution, there was the transitional authority. And we learned also, candidates, that the National Treasury, through the Public Financial Management Reform Secretariat, we learned how that secretariat champions the public finance management reform initiatives. So that's what we've been studying. We studied in the last lesson. We went ahead to look at the 2018 to 2023. The 2018 to 2023 public financial, this is known as the Public Finance Management Reform Strategy. The Public Finance Management Reform Strategy that was put in place, a strategy between 2018 to 2023. Public Finance Management Reform Strategy. And this strategy is anchored on the medium-term plan of 2018 to 2022, which outlines the government's reform interventions in the public financial management for the period of 2018 to 2023. And this is the third in a series of public finance management reform strategies that the country has implemented since the year. It is the third since the year 2006. It is the third since the year 2006. And it builds on the achievements of the public finance management reform strategy that was in place during the year 2013 to 2018. This one comes after the 2013 to 2018 public finance management reform strategy. Do you understand? 2013, around 3 years after the new constitution. was promulgated. There was the Public Finance Management Reform Strategy covering the period 2013 to 2018. Then after that, there is the third one. This is the third one, 2018 to 2023. We are doing this video in 2022. So we are in the middle of the 2018 to 2023 Public Finance Management Reform Strategy. Do you understand? It builds on the achievement of the 2013 to 2018 reform strategy that focused on translating the provisions of the 2010 Constitution into reality. This one here focused on doing what? On converting or translating the provisions of the 2010 Constitution, because this one came almost immediately after the new Constitution. And the critical PFM reforms implemented during the 2013 to 2018 included the enactment of the Public Finance Management Act. The enactment of the Public Finance Management Act. That was a huge milestone. It is on the basis of this act that we have even this subject called Advanced Public Finance Management. Advanced Public Financial Management. That's a subject that is anchored on this act together with the Public Finance and Taxation subject in the CPA syllabus. So the enactment of the Public Financial Management Act. There is also the legislation, various other pieces of legislation that deals with the national and county governments. This strategy also included the rolling out of the IFMIS, during the 2013 to 2018 period. There is also included in this strategy the adoption and implementation of international public sector accounting standards, the IPSAS. We can also mention the formulation and the implementation of the PPP policy, the public-private partnership policy. Then, of course, it also included the support of the fiscal devolution as stipulated in the Constitution of Kenya of 2010. So those are some of the reforms that were implemented during the 2013 to 2018 period. That's a small history. After the 2013 to 2018, then there is a new strategy, the Public Finance Management Reform Strategy of 2018 to 2023. Now, candidates, I want you to follow the reform agenda keenly. We are now on the 2018 to 2023 to date. And the 2018 to 2023 reforms in the public financial management builds on the achievement of the 2013 to 2018 public finance management reforms. The 2018 to 2023 reforms aims to deepen the reforms that were achieved in 2013 to 2018. Do you understand? Building on the reforms and the achievements, the 2018 to 2023 aims to deepen the public finance management reforms in areas that identified by stakeholders. and also through the diagnostic studies that included the need to increase the fiscal space, to enhance the coherence and consistency between policy commitments and public spending, to also enhance service delivery, the productivity of public investment projects, improvement in the wage bill management, to enhance efficiency, to improve the quality of ministries, departments, and agencies, and also county financial reporting. It also aims to strengthen internal and external audit. But candidates, the overall objective of the 2018 to 2013, the overall strategy is to deepen the reforms in order to promote transparency, accountability, equity, fiscal discipline, and efficiency in managing and using public resources for improving service delivery and economic development. And as an innovation from the previous strategies, the 2018 to 2023 has adopted what we call a result-oriented approach, a result-based approach. The current strategy is based on the result-based approach. But previous strategies focused on identifying the detailed activities, the inputs, the cost of reform interventions, but they were weak in establishing the relationship between the overarching results and the specific reform challenges. So this current strategy, the focus is on the results. Do you understand, candidates? Now I want to proceed by answering the question that was tested in August 2022, Advanced Public Financial Management paper, question number 4. Your country has undertaken public financial management reform initiatives and currently is working on implementation of 2018 to 2023 public financial management reform strategy. This strategy seeks to build on the success of previous public financial management reforms to date and address the challenges encountered. I've just taken you through the phases of public finance management reforms in Kenya, and the question is testing on the one that is the third one since the year 2006. The current one is a third one. And I've taken you through the achievements of the previous public finance management reform strategies, particularly the 2013 to 2018. I laid out here the achievements, what was achieved, the PPPs, we saw how the PPPs, the enactment of the Public Finance Management Act, and so on. So the second part of the question says, describe the challenges faced by the government in undertaking public financial management reforms. That's the question I want to answer, because part A, which says, analyze the objectives of public finance management reform initiatives undertaken in your country, that question we answered in the previous lesson. I'm going to answer the second part, challenges faced by the government. Challenges faced by the government in undertaking the public finance management reforms. Now, candidates, these challenges were identified by the stakeholders in the development of the strategy. The first being the fiscal space. The first challenge is in relation to the fiscal space. Fiscal space. Now, the fiscal space available for national and county policy commitment is limited. This space is limited. Now, and it's not just limited, but also unpredictable. Unpredictable. So this challenge can be described in short as limited and unpredictable fiscal space. Why? Because the revenue growth is below potential, while debt servicing costs, the salaries, and other recurring expenditures combined have increased faster. We've seen the parliament growing in number, the parliamentarians, we've seen different bodies being put in place, which is okay, in line with the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution has set up, requires that we set up board commissions, we set up, we put in place various acts of parliament which provide for units, departments within ministries and so on. So the cost of the recurring expenditure, when you combine it with the servicing of debts, the public debt, the salaries in the public service, they far much outweigh the revenue growth. The expenditure is growing at an alarming rate, whereas revenue growth is below potential. So that is one of the key challenges in implementing the public finance management reforms. The second point or challenge is the mismatch between policy commitments and public spending. The mismatch between policy commitments and public mismatch between policy commitments and public spending, which impacts service delivery effectiveness and return on investments. We've seen budget allocation not being clearly linked to the public investments and services. All right? The budget's allocations are not clearly linked to the public investments and services which it's intended to deliver. There are also budget programs and projects that are not adequately costed and appraised. And the availability of relevant information required in public financial management and necessary for stakeholders to undertake their roles, both inside and outside government, is limited. Relevant information, because in public financial management, information is important. That information is not relevant, and that is a challenge. Another point, another challenge, we are discussing the challenges faced by government in undertaking public finance management reforms. There is a problem on the availability and timing of budgetary funding for major services and also public investment projects. Unpredictability of budget funding. Unpredictability of budget funding, which undermines the quantity, the quality, the cost, and the timeliness of planned investments and service delivery. When government entities are not sure whether there'll be budget funding, if that information or if there is that unpredictability, uncertainty, then it becomes hard to plan. And that affects negatively service delivery. We've experienced delays in budget funding at the start of financial years in this country. We've had forecasts of revenue inflows and outflows being unrealistic. And the government cash position is at times not consolidated. So commitments are not adequately controlled, and pending bills in this country remain a challenge. Transfers to service delivery facilities at the national and county level, in most cases, unpredictable and unreliable. Challenges, those are challenges. So unpredictability of budget funding poses many challenges in terms of planning, in terms of delivery of, it affects the delivery of services and so on. Number 4, no value for money. The other challenge is in relation to value for money. Some service delivery infrastructure and inputs are not delivered on time or to specification and do not represent value for money due to procurement and contract management challenges. Due to procurement, contract, the inputs are not delivered on time. There are times inputs that were ordered for are not the ones that are delivered. We've seen wastage of goods, wastage of services, materials that were not ordered, materials that are not useful, being delivered to government entities, and that has affected service delivery. We talk of medicine in hospitals, talk of materials in education, talk of materials in sports, equipments in government, machineries, assets. Some of them are not as delivered according to specification, or some are delivered late, and therefore there is no value for money due to procurement contract management or contract challenges. Due to, let me put challenges. And despite having the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, we've had integrity issues of the players in the procurement sector, leading to challenges and affecting service delivery. The procurement policies, the systems and processes are not fully integrated. In some cases, they are not transparent and operationalized. And at some point, there is inadequate technical expertise in procurement. And we've had some complex contracts that are often not managed effectively. We've also had cases of weak compliance, weak accountability. We've had malfeasance that undermined service delivery. Five, weaknesses in wage bill management. Weaknesses in wage bill management. Now, candidates, value for money in wage expenditures and public servants' productivity are undermined by weaknesses in wage bill management, performance management, and accountability. So the public service management information systems are sometimes fragmented and have gaps. So organizational mandates, the functions, the structures, and establishments have overlaps, and they also have inconsistencies. So that now calls for compliance with standards and norms which need to be improved in order to check these weaknesses. Challenges in managing resources. Challenges, there are also challenges in managing resources. There are significant challenges in managing resources by education institutions, by health facilities, by water service providers, by other service delivery institutions in this country. The facilities providing the critical services in, say, education, in health, in the water subsectors, do not adequately allocate, manage, and report on the public resource utilization. And that's a challenge that the government faces in undertaking public financial management reforms. 7, challenges with compliance. There are also challenges with financial discipline. There are challenges in compliance and also financial discipline. Now, candidates, despite significant improvement in quality of ministries or departments and agencies, you may find there is a mix-up between the ministries, departments, and also the county financial reporting. And there is an underlying problem with compliance and discipline in financial and asset management. Challenge with discipline, financial management. Additionally, there is inadequate monitoring of fiscal risks. You may find also inconsistencies between financial statements and the IFMS data on receipts, on payments, on assets, on liabilities, and so on. And consequently, reconciliations are not entirely carried out in the system. And therefore, there is lack of compliance. The assets and liabilities management policies and procedures are not fully operationalized, leading to a challenge in public financial management. There is inadequate monitoring of commitments, pending bills, inadequate monitoring of contingent liabilities, and also the externally funded projects are not typically managed outside the discipline of the IFMS. 8, audit follow-up. There's also a challenge in the audit follow-up. The audit follow-up is inadequate. The audit follow-up is inadequate. Why? Because the quality, the timeliness, and the consistency of internal and external audit requires strengthening. And candidates, the audit follow-up in the management of public resources is very critical. To some extent, there is insufficient public participation. You may also find lack of regular and timely internal audit reports by the ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as counties. And we know that is a requirement of the established procedures for assurance, for risk management, for audit follow-up, and so on. So delays and the quality of external audits, we know affects also the timeliness in decision making and also service delivery. We've also had inadequate follow-up on issues raised from external and internal audits. And that's a challenge the government faces in undertaking public finance management reforms. We've given you 8 challenges: limited and unpredictable fiscal space, mismatch between policy commitments and public spending, unpredictability of budget funding. There is no value for money due to procurement contract challenges, weaknesses in wage bill management, challenge in managing resources, challenges with compliance and financial discipline, then lack of audit follow-up. We've said that there is inadequate follow-up on issues raised both by external and internal audits. And with that, candidates, we effectively bring the lesson to an end, where we continued with what we began in our last lesson on the public financial management reforms. In this lesson, we did an adumberation of what we covered in our last lesson, the summary, the background of the reform. We've seen how the reform agenda took place before the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010. We've seen what happened between 2006 to 2011. And with the Constitution, we saw what the Constitution envisaged. One, the Public Financial Management Act, which was put in place. The Constitution also helped in the reorganization of the National Treasury and establishment of new institutional bodies, like the Commission on Revenue Allocation, the Controller of Budget, and so on. These are new offices under the new Constitution. Then there is the Public Finance Management Reform Strategy of 2013 to 2018. We highlighted some of the achievements of the reforms, or the specific reforms of the 2013 to 2018 Public Finance Management Reform Strategy. Now, building on the 2013 to 2018 Public Finance Reform Strategy, we now have in place the 2018 to 2013 Public Finance Management Reform Strategy. We've gone through the objectives of this strategy from our last lesson. I also did a summary of the same in this lesson. Then in our last lesson, I gave you an assignment that was based on the past paper that was done in August 2022. The assignment was in 2 parts. One was dealing with the objectives of the public finance management reform initiatives undertaken in Kenya. The other one is on challenges. In our today's lesson, we've gone through the challenges that the government faces in undertaking public reforms, public financial management reforms. Thank you for attending this lesson. In our next session, we continue with the sharing knowledge in public finance management reforms in Kenya, and we will study the overview of developing partners and donor funds management. Thank you for attending this lesson. Make sure you go through the videos, do the assignments. When doing the assignments, close your notebooks. Try and see if you can recall what we've studied right from your memory. If you have a challenge extracting from your memory, go through the videos one more time. Then when doing the assignments, don't copy directly from the notes. When you do the assignment without referring to your notes, that is when learning takes place. That is when what you have learned is embedded in your memory. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.